our time is worth $100 an hour. So if you could pay an admin 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour to do that paperwork so you could go and do more business. And that to me, if you don't have one and you're doing more than 25 transactions a year, then you're really doing yourself a disservice.
We call it the suffering on my team. We literally talk every week at our family table about who's suffering. Because we know exactly how many houses we have to sell at a minimum to survive every month. Every person has a survival rate on my team. And we will literally say, hey, so-and-so, we know you're suffering right now because you're not going to pay your mortgage. What do we have to do?
What up, Masters? Welcome to a special episode of Path to Mastery. My friends, listen, I know a lot of our readers are in our readers. I know a lot of our listeners, better yet. And as a matter of fact, there is some reading opportunity for you with this episode because there will be notes from the event that you can download. This was a real estate team building mastermind panel that was awesome, guys. Over 180 million in volume, 180 million. Hold on, did you hear that? 180 million combined volume. And they shared everything, complete transparency, the things they did right, the things they did wrong, the challenges, the uphill battles, everything they went through to build these teams. And it's just an amazing episode. And I mean, just of honesty, transparency, and really just what it takes to be successful and how hard work it is, to be frank, building these teams. But at the same time, it's ultimately the huge gift that you receive when you get it right, you know? So it's just an awesome interview, and there's some great show notes. They talk about the steps. All the steps are there, you know, becoming clear on your vision and how to attract these people and figure out what you suck at, you know, and really how to make it, you know, not about you, but it has to be about them. If you're going to be successful with other people, it really has to be about helping them to achieve their goals. Matt Miale, who was on the panel, is one of the owners of RE Profit, and they put out a special offer to everybody. So reprofit.com, or actually it's spelled REPROPHET.com/path to mastery. Go there and you can get a 30-day trial of RE Profit. And guys, they're going to actually clean up your mess from last year. I don't know if you have everything in a shoebox or wherever it is, they will literally clean it up, give you a 30-day trial. I mean, if you were go hire a bookkeeper to do this, I mean, I can't imagine how much money it would cost you. So anyway, RE Profit, again, I'll spell it REPROPHET.com/path to mastery to get your 30-day trial. Guys, check this out. It's awesome. Enjoy this awesome episode. You know, I want to start a team, or, you know, I'm here. How do I get my team to over here? Or, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about joining a team. Who should I talk to? So we want to bring all that to you. The way it's going to work is we're going to spend, I don't know, about an hour or so just answering some questions. They're going to share some of the things they did right, some of the things they did wrong. Okay, my mouth's going faster than my mind right now. You see that? And then we're going to open it up for questions. How's that sound? Great. All right, good. So this is about leverage. Who can tell us what leverage is?
It's about finding somebody who likes to do what you're not good at.
That's a good, I like that. That's really good. Yeah, it's about having the right systems, people, and tools so that you can break through your ceiling. Would you agree we all have a ceiling of achievement?
Yes.
Yeah, and what happens is we hit that ceiling because we've done everything we can do ourselves. And the only way to get through that now is to add people and systems and tools to that. All right, so without anything else for me, we're going to start bringing in our awesome panel. So give it up for Michelle Wininger! All right, Steve Lucca! Iraeta! Denise Webster! Sandie Terenzi! And last but not least, Matt Miale. So, all right. Now, you guys can do better than that for these guys. All right, good. Okay, so, all right. So first place we're going to start is, we'll start off with Matt. So Matt, just give us production, how long you've been in the business, when you start your team, your goal for 18 or where you're going to finish 18, and then goal for 19.
All right, a lot of questions.
Yes.
All right, so I started in the business. I got my real estate license at the end of 2006. I spent a year at a sort of small independent brokerage. My first year, really part-time. It wasn't my primary gig. Came to KW in December of 2007. Which was when we hadn't even opened the West Hartford office yet. So I was the third West Hartford agent that came into this company. I really didn't make a commitment to building a team until 2010. I had other stuff going on. I was just kind of, like we all know that person. That's who I was. I was kind of a realtor, but not a realtor. And I had other things, and I just wasn't all in. In 2010, I kind of made the decision that if I'm going to do this, I should decide to do it. And that's really when I started the team. I hired my first assistant. I think that year we did 11 million in production. 2012, we did 12 million in production. We didn't really grow much. Then between then and now, this year will end at 60. We'll just north of 60 based on what's closed and pending.
60 what?
Million
Nice.
in volume.
And so Matt just gave the whole presentation. So on the intro.
Our volume goal for next year is 100 million. So we want to get north of 500 units and do $100 million in volume. That's obviously a huge leap, and there's probably 100 questions in between. How do you do that? So what did I miss? What else?
You're good, man. You're good. Thank you.
That's me. That's
awesome. All right, Sandie.
How many people are on your team, Matt?
It depends on what day you ask. We have 12 full-time agents as of today, and 5 full-time admins. But we are adding people at a pretty vigorous rate in order to hit that next goal. So literally by tomorrow, it could be as many as 14 people, and by the end of the year, it could be as many as 16. So it's a moving number at this point. So.
Awesome. And Sandie, same question?
So I've been in the business since 1984. I started when I was 12. Just kidding.
13.
13. I was with a previous real estate company for 18 years prior to joining KW, and I wish I had joined KW when John Aliabicki had called me and said, hey, and I didn't, so I should have joined sooner. And I had a team at my previous company, so when we came to KW, they tell this story, and I'm sure it was about me, but that they had 8, I was coming with a team of 8 from my previous company, and they made it look like all the desks were filled. Were you with KW at that time?
We used to do the mouse shake.
Yeah, and so anyway, when they talk about this big team coming to KW, it was us. But we last year we did about 25 million, and we did about 154 units. I did a complete reorganization of my team last year, and this year we're probably going to end up close to 30 million if everything closes, and about 250 units if everything closes. So nice. Our goal for next year is 400 units, 80 million in volume. Our price point's a little lower than that, I think, but we're gonna hit it. We're gonna do it this year.
Awesome.
How many people again?
So we have about 13 on our team. We have 3 full-time staff members. We have Lisa Gillette as our director of sales, and transaction coordinator, listing manager, director of ops, and then our agents who do both listing and sales.
Awesome. All right, Denise.
All right, so I took notes because my memory is like a sieve. So I started in real estate in 2009, when everything tanked, at a different company. Stayed there for about 3 years and then moved around a little bit. Ended up going back to that company when I started having conversations with my husband about rescuing him from his very health. There were health concerns. He worked in a body shop, so I talked to him about joining me, and it took me about 2 years to convince him.
I thought you were going to say 2 minutes.
No, it took 2 years for him to take that leap. And when we sat down and met with Keller Williams, at the time, I was adamant about staying where I was. I was very happy. I was under a contract, you know. And my husband looked at me and he says, well, if half of what they say is true, when I get my license, I'm going to Keller Williams. Okay. So that's how we started. That's exactly how it went down.
So your goal for what did you guys do in 18 and what's the goal for 19?
18.
Because we're going to get into all this stuff too.
Okay.
So you guys, can you tell these guys are all high eyes or what? This is a high eye panel here, so this is good
18,
stuff.
we did 51 transactions, just over 10 million. And 19, our goal is 75 with 15 million. And then we hired, Bill started in 2015. We hired our marketing assistant and executive assistant now in 2016, then started our team in 17.
Awesome. Thanks, Denise.
Yep.
All right. Lauren?
Okay, I'll keep this short. I'm Lauren. I run the Lauren sales team over in the West Hartford office. We have myself and 2 other agents in production, and then we have 3 admin. And I've been in business for 14 years. I started a team 7 years ago. This year we'll do about 170 units, 35 million in volume. Goal for next year is 60 million, 300 units.
Love it.
Volume this year?
35 million.
So are you guys familiar with the DISC assessments, DISC? Yeah. So you can see I. I'm sorry, IIID. All right, good stuff. Thank you. All right, Steve.
My name's Steve Lucca. I'm the team lead of the Icon Partner Group, and been in the business since around 2001. One of the rare guys that was actually teamed up by 2002. So I've always kind of had somebody around me in my world. Separated from my business partner, I think 2009-ish, and we had just we've been with Century 21 for about 8 years. We just got Keller Williams. Once we separated, had to do something. I knew I liked people around me and working with people and seeing people grow. So I started a team. Matt and I were a couple of the originals actually. Sandie, you too. So there wasn't too many of us back then, maybe 10 or 12 at the time. And teams were unheard of, and not like they are today. It's kind of the way it's going. So as of right now, we've closed about 22 million. We anticipate maybe 27 million this year. We do have a $60 million goal next year. We've recently doubled the size of our team very quickly, so we think that's going to not be too difficult, and we have about 13 people on our team right now. And Cheryl, Director of Operations, we've got B in the Philippines, and we've got Angel sitting in the office right now.
You brought the deep. Usually a high eye in the group.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, I'm Michelle Wininger. I got my license also in 2009 as the market was crashing. I did not start selling full time though until I think it was around 2011. I started building a team in 2014, which was way too soon because I started full time in 2011 but didn't start producing until 2012. So thought I should just roll right in. Hired my first assistant. I wasn't even a capper yet, just knew I didn't want to do paperwork. She's still with me. This year, I have an expansion group too. We're an expansion agent. So expansion and hub, we're going to probably close out the year around 20. Next year, we really just want to double, get to 40. We have 6 sales agents and 3 admins.
Awesome. All right, thanks. Good stuff. You guys notice a lot of diversity up here, right? Different teams, and they're going to talk more about that. I think you already kind of touched on the first part was how did you know you wanted to start a team? Well, you can talk to us about you can talk more about that as well. How do you know it was the right time? How did you guys know it was the right time? Okay, now it's time to start building my team, right? And we'll go start back on this end again with Matt.
There was an absolute definitive moment for me. It was in that 2010 year. I had decided that I was going to be committed to being a realtor, And I went out, and in the first month, I remember when Steve came over to me and was like, what's going on with you? I took 13 listings in a month because I decided, like, okay, I'm just going to do exactly what they tell me to do. I'm going to just make phone calls every day. And I went and I just built this. I got all these people around me that needed me. And I got this one client who was a really difficult client for me to win. He was an attorney. He worked at this law firm, and he was a super high D, really demanding personality. And it was just so stressful. I was so stressed, and like, I was working 7 days a week. I had 6 buyers, 13 listings. I was just crushed. And the guy called me one morning at like 9:30 in the morning, and I saw his voicemail, and I was like, I got to call him back. Because he stressed me out so much. And I had just had no time. And by the end of the day, I hadn't gotten back to him, and I got another voicemail from him at like 4:00, and it was the voicemail we all dread, which was like, dude, you're too busy for me. Like, I need you, and you're not returning my call. And it turned, it was one of those questions that was like a non-essential question, but I knew at that moment, like, if I have any design on having a life worth living, like, this sucks. Like, I was like, this completely sucks. Like, I'm being successful, like, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do, and I'm miserable. Like, I'm upsetting people, I'm breaking stuff, like I'm not fulfilling on what I set out to do, which is provide a high level of service. And I called him back, talked him off the ledge. It was a painful conversation. It was like one of those swallow your pride moments. Immediately after I hung up at that, I started calling agents in the office who I knew wanted to work. And I was just like, I need help. Like, I need help. I need help. I need help. I did not have the money to do it. Like, it wasn't the right time for me to do it financially. I just knew that the business I was building was broken and that I was going to have to fix it. That's when I knew. That was the exact moment.
So for you, it was about time. Yeah. You knew you had hit your limit on time, and because of it, your level of service was even sliding. I know you, and you offer a high level of service.
The service was sliding. My relationships were, I had 2 young kids at home who I never saw. My wife was always pissed at me because I was always late for everything. I was always on the phone. I wasn't present. Like, it was just this massive stress point where, and by the way, I also wasn't making enough money. So I was like, okay, I don't get this. Like, I am succeeding and not making enough money. Like, something is not working. Like, I don't want to do this forever. Like, I don't want to just keep sticking signs in the ground and keep taking people to look at houses and not also start to reap some life reward from it. And so, like, I just, I always look at the people around me who are succeeding at the thing that I want to do. And everybody told me, like, you need help. Like, you need an assistant. You need to start a team. And I was like, I don't really know if that's the right answer, but I'm just going to do that because the people who seem smarter than me, that's what they're doing. So that's what I did.
Awesome. We'll talk more about that when we come back to you. Sandie.
So I started a team when I no longer could keep up with the business. And when I started noticing buyer contracts or purchase contracts were coming through with the buyers that were calling me days before to go see a property, and I didn't call them back. So that's when I said, I need help. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep up, and I don't want to lose any more business.
Yep, no, that's for me the same thing. I noticed that I wasn't calling people back in the timely fashion that I hold to my standard. And as soon as you start seeing some of those cookies fall off the plate, all you want to do is capture them. And it's all about, for me, it's all about service and customer experience. And that starts from the day that they walk through an open house and you follow up. There's so many people that go through open houses and you don't even do any follow-up. So it's just having that extra support and knowing that there was business out there that I was losing.
Awesome, cool. I don't know what I missed. I stepped out for a minute. Someone else was talking when I came back. Awesome. All right, good stuff. I'm guessing time, though, right? Same thing. It was about.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah. And I feel like max capacity for me, just being an agent on my own, was about 25 deals. And I was like, okay, I can just do 25 deals. And when I first got into business, I was 22. I had 2 little kids. Life was totally crazy. So I was like, I can just do this and still not have a lot of time to do more, where I can leverage myself. Introduce an admin to my team. It's super scary because you're like, okay, that's you're providing income for someone. I just had faith that it would help me grow my business, and every year we just kept growing the team and growing the business, and that was 7 years ago. Wow.
I love that. Steve.
So, like I said, I had a partnership, which by all, it really wasn't a team in a sense. I was kind of a sole practitioner, like probably as much you guys are right now in the room, and for about 9-10 years, and it was okay doing that. Well, prior to say 7 or 8, killing it, making a lot of money, having a lot of fun, and it was easy. The business definitely shifted, pretty hard in 8 or 9, and I was in, I think, FSO, which is Franchise Systems Training for Keller Williams in Austin, Texas, and I had a weird thing happen with my ex-business partner, and I realized at that point that I wanted to do without my business partner. Called him up that day. I was with 2 other agents that were with me in Austin, and I said, "Hey, it's over. I want to do this on my own." And I went back and got home, had a little business divorce. We actually were here, and actually, because I was with Keller Williams, it helped me decide that because his mindset was not going in the direction of really what we all know as the millionaire real estate agent. I had already read it 3 times by then. He hadn't even glanced at it. That I realized that if I was going to eventually do something greater than the 2 of us, which means bringing people into my world and expanding their lives at the same time with my life, because we all know, give people what you want, or what they want, and bring them what you want. So I literally cut it off there, and I said, I'm doing it on my own. Tried it about I would say 8 to 12 months, maybe a year and a half doing it on my own, and I realized. And by the way, if you don't know what you suck at right now, find out fast, because forget about what you're good at right now. Find out what you suck at, and then figure out how to have other people help you with that and help them while they do it. So I decided to jump in, build a team, did at a very low level, just getting by. A lot of you guys know I don't like to work, so I did it at a very low level, and in the last couple of years, it started to grow, and with Cheryl and Scott coming into the world, things have really blown up very quickly, but it's a good thing. So teams are great. It's a different animal, so it's got to be used.
Does anybody not know what they suck at, by the way?
I'm fully aware.
I know, you guys. I'm talking to these guys.
You'll be much better for life when you figure out what you suck at and don't do that.
I'll tell you what I suck at. I suck at doing real estate paperwork, and I suck at working with buyers. And I'm just being honest. It's not that I suck at it, I just don't have the patience for it. And I realized that. That was part of the reason we started our team years ago, too. So, Michelle.
So why did I start the team initially, right? Okay, so totally transparent. When I first started the team, it was obviously I hired Deb, who was my assistant. It was simply because I didn't want to do paperwork. Pure and simple. And then these guys were here building a team. As you can see, they've been in the industry a lot longer than me. So I started building a team because everybody else was doing it. And I thought I should. I mean, really and truly, that's the honest answer. I built the Winning Team International. It doesn't exist anymore. I wanted to wipe that slate clean. And I started hiring buyer's agents. I had a ton of listings, so that was great, but I was hiring and building and doing all of that for all of the wrong reasons. For that reason, we experienced growth, but my personal growth. So I grew, the team didn't really grow, the numbers, it was just all very wonky, not right, and not really fun. And then after I decided to get out of the fight or flight mode and truly build a team because I wanted to help other people, I had things to share, I had learned a lot, I had been to all of the training, everything you could possibly do for yourself to be the leader that you should. We got rid of the Winning Team International and we built the MW Realty Group. And so I feel like I built a couple of teams. And now is when I'm really building a team. Not because everybody else is doing it, not because I thought I should, not because I have too much business. It's sheerly because it's what I have to offer as a platform that can help other people. So, yeah, that's.
Well, appreciate that. I mean, I think there's a lot of truth in that, right? I mean, a lot of times we see people feel like, you know what, everybody else is doing a team, so I should do a team. But maybe a team's not the right thing for everybody, right?
It's right now, but as, being, let's say, 3 years in the industry, and being a really good salesperson, but not having grown as a leader.
Oh.
In truth, I was attracting very talented people who were attracted to I think, the energy, and then when they were joining my team, I was failing them.
Yeah. So that rolls us right into the next question. If you want to touch on it, what would you say was your biggest mistake as a team, or your biggest challenge, maybe starting the team?
I think it just in general, dialing back a few years ago when I started building, it was building for the wrong reasons, and it wasn't that the intentions were not. The intentions were always pure. Always very pure in wanting to serve other people and help other people. That was always very clear. But not building the right way. Not, to Steve's point, knowing what my weaknesses were and hiring right around that. It was... Okay, well, I softened it a little. Getting clear on who I was, so what value I could bring. So when I'm attracting people, making sure that it was a give, and a win-win and all of that. So I think my biggest mistakes were really just having such a big vision, but not harnessing my strengths. So if my strengths are being a visionary and being a great leader, not, your greatest strength, not harnessed, can be your biggest weakness. So not getting clear on who I was and what I could bring, and then doing everything too soon and stumbling over myself, but bringing people into those roadblocks with me. That was probably my biggest.
And I have to share this because we have a class called Career Visioning. It's part of our Leverage series. Most of you, we have some guests, so thanks, guests, for coming, by the way. But our Career Visioning, the first step in that class, and that's the class that's taking agents from, they're doing 30 to 40 transactions. How do you want to get to the next level? It's what Michelle just said. It's about how do I create that vision and really be clear on that vision. And then by doing that, I can start attracting the right people to me.
We didn't have that, by the way. A lot of the stuff that we have now, this is what we offer now is an amazing platform for all of us. But when I started building a team, we didn't have that. When I relaunched and started building this team, that was the first thing I did. I took career visioning every single time it came within like a 3 or 4 hour drive. See the career visioning, and then what was the next
30, 60, 90.
So I did that for an entire year before I started building this foundation. And it really is impactful in building the right groups.
Awesome. So Steve, besides what you suck at, what we all suck at, right? What would you say was your biggest mistake?
I honestly, it's going to sound kind of hokey and weird, but not coming from contribution. To be quite honest with you, I don't know if you folks who aren't at KW can understand what we're trying to say when we say that. But the bottom line is, when you're building a team and you have you in mind, you're going to fail. And I failed. Matt, you failed a crap load of times with me. Most of
the time because of you.
So this is pretty much your fault here, guys. And hopefully if you take something away from today, it's what we've failed at is really what we're trying to get across to you today. Not, in my opinion, not what we've succeeded at. So if you can avoid the pitfalls, and when I say not coming from contribution, I mean that I started building teams 7 or 8 years ago, and I would just throw people on without proper training, without understanding a process for them, without having a director of operations, because I was going to do it all myself, because even though I'd read the Red Book, I was smarter, right? No. So, and that's one thing you have to learn very quickly in this business, is that as great as you think you are, you're not. Somebody's doing it better than you. I mean, I'm going to take my hat off to Matt Miale right now, because Matt and I were in a room together about 6-7 years ago, as we often meet, and he said to me, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Really do it. Now, it was after you decided you were going to build a team. He said, I'm going to do it. And I said, I'm just not ready. I got this divorce thing going on. I got all kinds of shit happening. I go, I'm not going to do it just now, but I'll be there at one point. So Matt just did it, and you can see where he's at today. So folks, if you're here and you want to do something, just go ahead and do it, but lead from your heart to the people with you in your world. My table, we call our family table on my team. If you can have Thanksgiving dinner with me, you could be on my team, our team. We're a partnership group. You can't. If I don't want you to eat a break of bread with me, I don't want you on my table. On your honey.
Yeah, you shared that with me recently too. We were talking about a couple potential people, and you said if I don't like them, yeah, I mean, which kind of goes without saying. However, I've seen people hire people just to get some bodies on their teams because they need a buyer agent. It's not fair to anybody.
Right, that's not covered contribution.
Absolutely, love that, Lauren.
What was the question?
I know it's
it was how has Steve Lucca ruined your business?
Thank you.
Gone over that. For me, I wish I had failed faster because I feel like I should have taken more risks. And I was seeing all these people, especially in KW, who are in different states, and they're doing all these amazing things. And I was like, I could never do that. They can do that because they're in a different state, or they can do that because their price range is higher. I wish I had just taken more risks faster and failed faster. And I feel like in 15 years, I could have, what I've accomplished in 15 years, I could do in 5 years easily, knowing what I know now. So just,
Can you think of like an example of that, or where would that?
Hiring and growing a team. I was so scared because
scared hiring. Why? Like, what's scary about hiring?
I mean, I'm a control freak, so there's that. And then there's also, I had 2 small kids at, I was 21, 22 years old. Like, it's a scary thing to look into the future and have faith that your business will grow if you spend X amount of dollars. I always feel now, definitely now, but back then I felt, if I put in the money, I have to get a return. Yeah. There's no other option for me. There's no failure. It can't be possible. Yeah. It won't be possible. So you just have to have faith, and failure is good. Just do it. It teaches you a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it really comes down to at some point you realize that, man, I there's not another day in the week or an hour I can work. If I want to do more business, what am I just gonna not sleep? It's like at some point I gotta. And a few of you mentioned hiring because of the fear of all of a sudden now I've got somebody sitting there that I have to, it's a $40,000 a year salary.
But it's fear of failing too, just in all aspects. It's like I could fail the person I hire. I could, there's so many different things that go through your head. You just do it. Be responsible about the decision. Don't take crazy risks and do crazy things.
And how do you be responsible about the decision?
I mean, give it some thought, but don't think, I'm going to do this next year. I'm going to do this when this happens. Just do it. If it sounds like something that's going to grow your business, it's going to be beneficial to you and your clients, just take the risk. And there's resources here, people who are doing business at, super high levels that, we're a sharing company. You can talk to anyone about anything. And, we've all had failures. That's how we grow. So there's definitely...
You probably have had the least amount of failures.
I'm very cautious. That's why it's taken about 15 years. Well, these people do it in like 5 years. I think differently now.
Well, it's interesting. If you go back to her point, though, what the point she made is that maybe that's why she's had less because she hasn't taken as much risk, right?
This is the
if you go back
think about what the reward is going to be. Yeah. If I do
and she's still killing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a solid business, yeah.
And she did it very fast, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Masters, I'm going to get you right back to the show. Again, I just want to remind you about the show notes. You can download the show notes for this episode at davidihill.com/affiliates and just click on the team building link. You'll see it on the page, team building panel notes. And the other opportunity is RE Profit. Guys, again, get your books cleaned up. Get your 30-day free trial at reprophet.com/path to mastery. Guys, go there right away, get your 30-day trial, and get your books cleaned up for this new year coming. Okay? And finally, if you love podcasts, which I know you do, obviously you're listening to this, go get yourself a free audiobook on me at davidsfreebook.com. Guys, listen, this is a free Audible download book you get to keep. Doesn't matter if you keep the service or not, you get to keep the book. I'll give you a great book for, if you're listening to this, leadership book. It's called The Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko Willink. It's unbelievable. All right, so a couple opportunities. One, get your show notes. Two, reprofit.com/path to mastery, and free book at davidsfreebook.com. Enjoy the rest of the show.
So these are all high achievers, right? these guys are all killing it, and then all of them are like, I got to get to the next place. Oh my God, right? You see that? The big thinkers up here. Big thinkers. Yeah, Denise.
That's really funny that you're going in with that, because my biggest challenge was thinking bigger. Because when I came to KW 4 or 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I jumped right in. I took all the training I could, because where I came from, I didn't have any, really any training. It was like a fire hose of information. I was very much like Lauren. My business partner, my husband, who is does not jump in quickly on anything. So for me, it was just thinking bigger than who I was and where I can go as not only an individual, as a human, but as a businesswoman, somebody who can really, I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I sat in bold, and my first bold, I was sitting right next to Miale, and I don't think I've ever told you this.
It was waiting. I don't know what I did, but
we had to write down our goals for the next year, and I honestly don't remember your number. It was like 150 transactions or 200, and here I'm, producing at like 20, 25, 30. And I looked at his paper and I'm like, wow. And I'm like, okay, so what should my number be? I have no idea. And it's like, don't compare yourselves to other people's outsides. He was doing his own process.
That number probably scared the shit out of me.
It did, because you did the
I probably wrote it down and I was
thing.
like, there's no effing way I'm doing that. Like, I don't know.
And then what happens in bold? They say
They
double
cross
it,
off and
right?
double it.
Yeah, I was probably terrified at that moment too. So.
Yeah, and I've watched you grow too. So there's always a defining moment for everyone. For me, it was, I was having the conversations of we needed to hire another full-time executive assistant. I have Sarah, who's an awesome assistant. She was really focused on our marketing. And Sarah, Bill, and I had a conversation in our office, and I literally got up, said, you can have the keys to the business, I'm leaving. Because my husband was not on board with where we needed to go. So the thinking bigger, I had to think bigger for myself, but also for my business partner. I came back. And I won that battle like I usually do. And in fact, actually, that was also another mistake, because we hired an assistant, and that's one thing I learned. So you hire slow, fire fast, real fast. As soon as you see somebody not having the right values or, supporting the business value that you do, you don't need them in your life any much longer than they already have been. So Sarah stepped up and is now our executive assistant and doing our marketing, and she's definitely an asset to our team. So that was my biggest challenge. Okay, Sandie.
Okay,
Go, Sandie.
All right, so I would say that my greatest challenge was not hiring the people that had goals, the people that weren't in alignment with the team goals. If we can teach them the skill if they have the will, and really, if they don't have that will, they'll never learn the skill. They'll never, and that was my biggest thing is, real estate takes people that are driven and motivated and goal-oriented. And if you have a team member, right? If you have a team member that's not in alignment with that, then it's a downfall to a team. And our team offers so much. For all of our agents, if they don't have the will, they're never going to succeed. So that was probably the biggest thing is not hiring in culture with the team and not in alignment with the team goals. That's probably my biggest downfall. They all have to have that drive and ambition and hunger. That's the word I was using this year, hunger.
So, and because you're part of a larger expansion team that's actually in, I don't know, 29 or so office. I don't know. You are part of one of the largest expansion teams in the whole company.
28 or 29, yep.
Yeah. So, just from your perspective, why would you? Because it's a little different probably than everybody else. I know some of you guys are building expansions, but you actually partnered with an expansion. Why would you go doing a big business as you're already doing, and then partner your business with an expansion team?
Everybody asks me that question, and I have to say it was a grueling journey. But I'm so glad I did it, because the support, we had this big long list, and we're asked this question. Lisa Gillette's on my team too, or our team too, and we get this question asked all the time. It was something that was something that I wasn't sure I wanted to be a part of after being in business for 20-something years. But it was just a turbocharge to get there quicker and faster for me.
Yeah, so you just saw it as just like everybody else that might be thinking about, hey, should I think about joining a team? You're already doing a big business, and you're like, you know what? By partnering with this team, instead of my business being here, my business can spread out all over the country.
Value. Just the leverage that you all know that we need to have, but with the expansion team that we have, it's even added it. It's taken
exponentially
and just grown it hugely. We send our hubs something that we might need, and they don't sleep. We get it within 8 hours.
Oh, or 5 minutes. I got to go teach a class. I need this back.
Night, though, honest to God, they don't sleep. You get up in the morning, and any kind of marketing you want, any kind of flyer, any kind of anything. So there's so much leverage within our team, but then there's added leverage within the expansion team.
Sure. So it's a higher level of structure, support, leverage.
Support, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Matt, same question. What would you say your biggest challenge, mistake?
It's like a litany. It's just a long list. The theme, though, that you guys are all hearing from everybody here is about it's about people, right? And so the biggest challenge that's been consistent, which really changed for me in the last 2 to 3 years, I realized that building a team has nothing to do with real estate. That like you have to get away from thinking about transactions, and you got to start thinking about humans. And that if you really want to lead and be a leader and build a huge business, your number one priority has to be the people with heartbeats that are within arm's reach and their success. And then most of us build a team because we're like, I just want to do more units. I just want to do more volume. I just want to build a bigger business. I just want to make more money. And it's still all about I. And that is where the shift happens. If you want to have a big business, like it has to be about them. And it's so hard to do that. And so when I say like it was the biggest challenge, because most of us, when we start teams, we don't have the economic structure. We don't have the financial resources. We don't have the tools. We have to go sell houses. And so you're trying to be like big thinking leader at the same time that you're trying to be like servicing realtor. It's really, you're living in these two totally contradictory worlds. It's very difficult. And so the main shift has to become, and that was the biggest challenge, was to be able to build enough financial and enough resources so that I could wake up every day and not worry about me, right? Which that's not selfish. We all have to worry about me first. Like, how do I protect my family, my people, right? How do I protect those people first? And then get it big enough that I don't have to wake up and worry about that anymore. I need to worry about them. And then it starts to grow. Like then it starts to become exponential. And that's a hard shift, but that's the biggest challenge. Like, is getting out of you. It's and I have to give Amina credit for this. I don't know where she is, but Amina asked me a question a couple of years ago, and it was like I had just gone through something on my team, and it, I was just kind of struggling with it, and she just said like, "What role did you play in that failure?" And I've always thought that I took personal responsibility for everything. But it was like, this was one of those incidents where I was like still boxing that up. Like that was a that person problem, not a me problem. And it was both of our problem. And the thing was that when she asked me that question, I kept ruminating on it. Like, what part did I play? Like I couldn't find out what I did wrong. Like I was like, but it was 100% my fault. And that was because now everything's my fault. Everything. And that's the liberating point when you get to the, like, you have to decide. If you decide other people
Now you're
are
just taking credit for 60 million, man.
yeah, that's all my fault. No. And if something breaks, it's all my fault. Like it's all my fault. Like everything. And like the 60 million doesn't, David talks about, like, that doesn't feel like we're even touching what we can do. And so, like, it's like we're just getting there. But that's the challenge. Is just stop making it about you. And that's hard. It's hard, but that's really the life work, like, of building a team.
So what do you say that, like, what does that look like? How does that start? Like, let's talk about you're thinking about bringing some people on the team.
First thing is, and look, most of you guys know I have another company which is called reprofit.com, and the reason I started that company is that most of us, and I'm going to guess 95% of us, are not financially where you need to be in order to create any kind of future for another person. And I was not, and it was the biggest thing that I did wrong. Like, you have to, the first thing is you've got to protect yourself, and you've got to be able to put barriers between the ups and downs of the business, which are inevitable, and your personal, and where you sit, so that your family's okay. Because here's what happens. If your business starts to careen off the road and you've got 3 or 4 other people that are on your team relying on you and you can't pay your bills, what are you going to do? And they call you and they need help. Where's your attention going to go? Not to them. What kind of service are you providing to the people around you when you can't return a call because you got to go close a deal in order to pay your mortgage? Like, most of us are not ready to have other people in our world. And that's the real struggle, is just solidifying your financial house. Because this business is a roller coaster. You don't ever think that you're going to get to some Shangri-La, like super easy, like, it's still every day. It is up and down. Leah and I watch the numbers every day. Every single day we look at the numbers and we make decisions about the numbers in the business every day. It's like, what did we put on our contract that's going to close 60 to 90 days from now? Because you are only ever 60 to 90 days from a tragedy if you're not watching. So that's the stress point. And if you've got people, if you're still in the trench of closing deals every single day, constantly chasing deals, and you've got other people around you that are in that same chaos factor, and you haven't been able to get yourself out of the trench enough to watch what they're doing to protect them, you're probably not ready. Like, and that's the scary part. That's biggest challenge by far, is not being financially prepared.
I think that's what this was like perfect time. That's what kind of like where I was going with this. I love how Matt always like finishes like my thoughts. But in real estate, I think the difference between realtors that turn business owners versus other companies that are in business is we're the rock star, natural born salespeople for the most part. And then we decide we want to build a team because stuff's falling down and we can't pick up all the mess, or the team is the next thing to do because it's the next shiny thing. And then I've coached with Adam Hergenrother for a long time, and he says no matter where you are in your business, it's either people or money. Your biggest problems are always going to be people or money. And when you're focused on building a team and you're still rocking sales because you have to Matt's point, you have 2 things. You're looking for leverage and you're looking for listings. And then inevitably one falls off. So then you're running like this 3-legged race. And that's where I feel like becomes, if your heart is in building a team, build a team. But don't just build a team because everybody else thinks, because it's the thing to do. Because it can be very hard, especially when you've got to make sure you keep your income to support the team. But then you've got to make sure your team is your priority. But then you've got to go answer calls and go on listing appointments, and it's like this fine little balance until Jarek Robb, we had a nice mastermind with Jarek who positioned this well for me. You're in fight or flight mode, and then you're in survival mode. So there's these different levels that we go through as human beings. And when you're in building a team and you're in survival mode, you want to be coming from contribution to your team, but you're making sure you can provide for your family. And then when you've gotten that stabilized and you have enough and you're not in survival mode, I think that's when you go into growth and contribution. And then that's when like the real launch happens.
Lauren did this perfectly. Like I remember talking to you several years ago before you like we had like a sideline mastermind, and you were like, I think I want to hire an assistant.
Do you know what I did?
Yeah.
Tell me. I was going to say that. No, did I really tell you?
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I remember when we met and you said to me, you were like, I'm going to hire an assistant, but I'm not going to do it until I have 1 year's salary set aside.
Yeah, totally.
Is that what you? So
because I'm so responsible.
Yeah,
I was so nervous. First of all, I was nervous about failing. I was nervous about someone relying on me for income to like feed their family and do all that if I couldn't like follow through. So I saved up $25,000. I'm like, I'm not hiring an assistant until I have $25,000.
Yeah.
But there lies the next problem, because I did the same thing, but then guess what I did? I hired wrong for maybe 3 years. So the $100,000 I had in the bank went to all the wrong admins, and then I went back into survival mode. So if you do that, and you do it right.
So I felt comfortable taking the leap at that time, just because I just felt like I was prepared for it.
You hired right too.
I mean, I didn't. Yeah.
Listen to Lauren. Don't listen to us.
I was careful. about
It's
planning.
It's nauseating how perfect she is.
I have made a lot of mistakes. I was just nervous about having to.
I tease her, but I quietly compliment her without her hearing it most of the time. That she did. If there is somebody up here today that you are going to emulate in creating your business, just relax. In her stages and steps, the term fail forward is something that some of us here know very well. She doesn't. It did take her longer to get into the mindset, and then once that occurred, it took off. So she also, are you not a high D, right?
In certain situations.
Well, so most of you folks out here that want to run a business are going to have some serious high D. Okay, you are not most likely going to be an accountant. There's a few people in this company that are double-headed dragons, I call them, can do both. Ed Sutton sitting in the other room right now. He is a double-headed dragon. Most of you people aren't, and neither am I. So if you decide you want to start a team, understand that it's $1 million investment. It's $1 million investment. Just understand that right now. Some of the younger folks here that have started teams are getting it now. It's about $100,000 a year. So
it can be. It doesn't have to be.
If you do it like we did it.
So
it's not cheap and easy. You have to be organized to do it.
So leadership is definitely going to play in when you're starting a team or a business. We're all conditioned to sell houses, right? Be good salespeople. Some of us are good grinders. Some of us can get the listing agreement signed, do all that stuff, get the buyer to sign the agreement. But going now and all of a sudden you have 2 or 3 people that you're trying to lead and trying to motivate and keep accountable and help them grow a business. That is a whole new set of skills. Okay, I know me, that was my biggest struggle for a lot of years. I struggled as a leader. I was a terrible leader. I did good business, but when I brought people on my team, they'd leave. It didn't work. So there's a lot of that. And if you listen to every one of them, they've all done it, and they've all done it kind of different ways, but kind of the same way, right? So what I want to do, though, is get into one, and the only other point I want to make is to the point between Steve and Lauren, is some people do it Lauren's way. They do it slow and steady, and they get there, and other people go all over the place, and they still get there. So it doesn't really matter what your trajectory is, as long as you know where you're going and you get there. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah. So there's no right or wrong way.
Systems. You follow the systems.
Yeah. So I have one more question, and then I want to open it up for questions. Is that all right? You guys cool with that? All right, we say I'm cool with that.
Cool with that.
All right. Is it warm in here? It's a little warm in here. I'm going to turn this on. It's there's a lot of people. So, all right. So the final question, what we're going to do is give kind of like the CNN answer for the most part, okay? And then we want to open up for questions. What would be your advice, Matt, if someone wants to start a team? I mean, obviously a lot of that's been talked about, but what else would you add to that?
People ask me all the time if they should start a team. The first piece, I would say, it's why. They have to get clarity about why they want to do it. There is no, when somebody says, I want to start a team, I go, okay, why? Why is it? If you just want to be on the leaderboard, that's the wrong answer. Don't start a team because you want volume. Don't start a team because you want more units. Those are all the wrong reasons. Why is important. Get really clear about why a team is the right fit for you. And for some people, some of the conversations that start that way wind up with people saying, maybe I shouldn't start a team. Maybe I should join one. Because some people want to start a team because they don't want to do paperwork, right? And Sandie is, I think, one of the best examples of somebody who saw leverage and was like, you know what? Why wouldn't I get involved with that, right? Why should I build it myself? You know, and that's the question that I would ask people. There's no CNN answer to that question.
I mean, so why is clear, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with career visioning, the first step, create the vision and find people that align with your vision, right? Any idea how do they figure out the why? What's your process look like?
That's a lifelong process, and it changes all the time. But the why, if you ask 10 people that are on the verge of starting a team, why are you starting a team? They're going to say leverage, or they're going to use some catchphrase that they heard somewhere. If it doesn't put your hair on end on your arms and like keep you up at night, it's not the right answer, right? So you probably haven't dug deep enough into why it's important, because it's going to be harder than you think. It's going to take longer than you think. It's going to cost more money than you think. And you're going to be tested so many times that if you aren't connected to why you're going to do it, you're going to quit and you're going to fail over and over and over again. And it's going to feel miserable and you're never going to get to that point. So you have to, like, for me, my why is about my family. Like, it's about providing for my kids in a way that I feel I wasn't provided for. And so I'm really connected to that. And I share this with my team all the time. Some of you guys may have even heard it. Like, there is a conversation that I play out in my head, which is with my 12-year-old son. And it's him he's ready to go to college. And he comes and he says, Dad, I got accepted to this college and I want to go. And I say to him, I'm sorry, son, I didn't work hard enough to pay for you to go to college. And that is enough to get me out of bed any day of the week and do whatever it takes to never allow that conversation to happen. And that is my why. Like, I can't have that happen to me. Like, that is not acceptable. And so that's, like, it took me years to connect with that. Because, you know, your family's kind of a cop-out answer sometimes. It'd be like, oh, to provide for my family. And it's like, well, what does that mean to you, though?
Yeah.
For me, it meant failing them. Like, it meant failing them at that level. That's my, like, that's not happening. I will hunt I will never quit, because that's not going to happen. So, and now I have 3 kids. So it's not just him. It's the 10-year. Now I have to have that conversation 3 times. Like, that's like, whoa, I really got to work. Like, that's it.
So for me, it was the same thing. I have 3 daughters, and this morning I woke up, I had a sore throat, I'm feeling a little under the weather, I'm moping around my house, and my daughter jumps out of bed. I've got show and tell today. Like, yay! He comes running in the kitchen. You know, my 5-year-old. And that was it. Once I saw that, I don't have any issues anymore, right? Just pure gratitude came over me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you whatever it is for you, you got to figure that out. Sandie, same question.
So I would say, again, on the alignment of what Matt said, but basically, why do you want to start a team? If you are too busy, you need a missing persons report. That's what we used to say with Adam Hergenhofer, because we're on part of his expansion team. What's your missing persons report? What piece are you missing in your business that you need help with? And again, all of us said it was the admin, having that paperwork part, because I feel our time is worth $100 an hour. So if you could pay an admin 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour to do that paperwork so you could go and do more business, that was one of the things that my previous real estate company taught me. And this was before the MREA even came out, I think. They were really pushing towards having you have an assistant. And that, to me, if you don't have one and you're doing more than 25 transactions a year, then you're really doing yourself a disservice. And I think that is, you need to sit down and say, what's my missing persons report? Do I need to have one right now, or am I just being, lazy? Or use a TC in the market center or whatever if you can't, or a, listing manager in the market center if you're not great at that, and then leverage yourself to, maybe do more, hire a buyer's agent or someone to help you in your business. But I think that was one of the things that Adam kept saying to me all the time. What's your missing persons report? What does that look like?
The number one thing I would say is know what value you bring and know what type of team you want to have. You know, I may be in a minimal mindset right now of not thinking bigger. My team's, mighty, and we're small and we're mighty. Yet we can pick one another up at the drop of a hat. I'm on the side of the road, morning sickness. Who can cover my showing?
That was like 3 weeks ago, was that?
The ability to be able to provide value to your world is the number one thing. We've been very fortunate to have the team with us that we've had, and we are growing. They come to us because, and I asked an agent this morning, I said, what is it? Why do you stay on our team? What is it for you? And she said, you know what? It's diversity. I can, you have a certain approach with clients, whereas Bill, my husband, has a different approach with clients or situations. I'm the high D, he's the high C. So, and not like the Kool-Aid thing. He's really super, super patient. And so when we need to coach or mentor an agent through something that needs a little bit of extra patience, I know, whether it's getting somebody onboarded on systems, I know that I need to lean on him for that. So, but when it comes to going out and grabbing a listing, he's sending me out. Just know what your value is and what type of team and environment you want to have. Our team, like Icon, is we're a family. We're a family within a bigger family, our KW family. So that's my advice.
Love it. Lauren?
I think it's all about the risk, having a team and being the head of a team, there's so much risk involved. So for me, if I didn't have a team, I'd be on one just so I could maximize my production, because I think alone, like I said, your ceiling, you really hit that with minimal transactions and quality of life suffers and all of that. So I think there's huge value to either having a team or being on one. Obviously the family is important. I am paying for college, so that's, I'm already there. So that's obviously a big why for me. But our team members, we're, like Denise said, our team is small and mighty. We're a small, productive team. We have an agent who did 4 deals last year at a separate company, and he came to our team, and 10 times his business, he'll do 40 units this year. And for me, that totally fills my cup. I get all misty thinking about it, because it really, that is huge for him. It completely changed his life. He's having a great time. He has leverage on the team to do the things that he wants to do. He sold 2 houses while he was on the beach in Florida because he had the team backing him up. So it's huge. It's huge. That's huge for me. So I could get all emotional talking about it, but it's so exciting to me. So that really gets me going.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So kind of piggybacking on what Lauren said and kind of what I said before, if you want to start a team, you have to be prepared to not be concerned about you. Now, that's okay if you are that type of person. Just join a team, because you can become a massive producer on a team as well as running a team. It doesn't matter. There's inherent risks that come with running a team. Every one of us have been broke, except for her. Every one of us have been broke. Multiple times.
I have college tuition maybe.
Well, there you go. But I will tell you, be prepared that, when you create a team, I always close my eyes, and I hate to say it like this because it sounds, I don't want derogatory, but I always feel like little birds chirping. And there's worms, I got to show up, get worms. I got to show up every day for those people. They're like my family now. Yeah. So if I'm not working at my highest level, Cheryl's not at her highest level, we call it the suffering on my team. We literally talk every week at our family table about who's suffering, because we know exactly how many houses we have to sell at a minimum to survive every month. Every person has a survival rate on my team. And we will literally say, hey, so-and-so, we know you're suffering right now because you're not going to pay your mortgage this month. What do we have to do? So you have to actually be ready to give to the people on your team. And then eventually it will come to you. It isn't a quick process, folks, which is why I threw the number $1 million, because if you took all of us up here at a 10-year average of building a team, spending $100,000 a year, you know what I mean, for the average, Lauren, for the average, and it is a serious, significant commitment to others. To others. And if you are not willing to commit to others, which it's okay, just do it on your own, sole practitioner, or if you want to become part of a team and build it under we talk about leverage from our end. The leverage from the people in our world, their leverage is awesome. I mean, what you said 2 minutes ago rings true. I have two shining moments in this industry. I won't tell you about the first one. It was Johnny Baez, but the second one is one of my top people in my world on our team, Sharon. Probably shouldn't have said her name. In any event, she came to me. I came to her, actually. Saw her at the movie theater about 6 years ago. Been in business like me 12, 13 years at the time. And, hey, Sharon, what's going on? How you doing? Oh, a little bit negative, not great, and wasn't that? What's the matter? We were working at Century 21 together. You were a rock star, and you're the big shot, Steve, that kind of thing. And guess what? I said, can I talk with you in a couple weeks? Nah, I'm not interested in coming to KW, Steve. Let's just sit down and have a cup of coffee. She's been with me now 5 years. She is a capper every single year. Rock star. Her, I think her first year or second year on my group, really. I'm not going to get emotional about it. It was really an incredible moment for me. What are you doing for a trip? I just booked a 10-day safari for my husband for something or other. And I said, that's incredible. And that was, for me, that was like 2 years prior to that wasn't happening. So her success, to me, it meant everything.
It was your success.
It wasn't my success because it was her doing it, but I felt inside of me that I'm like, Jesus, that's what this is about. So if you are not willing to give unto yourself, then just work for a team. Don't start one.
If moments like that don't get you all excited, then you should just.
I'd rather, I'm bad about it. Almost I'd rather lose mine. Like, yeah, we'll get them. You made them like a coach. But yeah, just get ready to give, okay, until you can get.
It's the fulfillment, right, that you get. We have another example in the room right now, Lisa Gillette, right? You were telling me about Lisa, right? She
joined our team a year ago on November 1st, and she's done 4.5 times. And Lauren, you said how your team member did too, but Lisa was in production for 17 years, and I never thought she would join a team, so I never called her.
I got that same question, why would you join a team?
Why wouldn't you?
So you went from how many? 7 transactions to 60?
No, she went. What'd you have last year?
13 or 14.
14.
In 2017.
And how many?
She'll probably end up at 60. She doesn't know her numbers. I know her numbers.
Yeah.
So 4 extra business.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
I've never looked back once. The only thoughts about looking back was going back to where I was and going to everybody what are you guys doing here? Because it was such a night and day difference coming from one agent. I had only been with one agency and then moved over.
We should have you up here doing a panel.
And one thing I want to say about her, when I was talking about hunger, someone being hungry and motivated and driven and has desires. Lisa doesn't have to work for a living. She doesn't. Her husband's got a fabulous, huh?
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm fortunate,
but she is so driven, and she's our director of sales for our team, but she wants everyone on the team to succeed, and she wants everyone to see. She converts leads at a high level because she makes that connection with that lead. Her clients rave about her, and it's a tremendous feeling. Because Lisa told me, I'm going to quit in 6 months if I don't make any money. I'm not going to make any money. I'm not going to make any money.
6 months. It took me a long time to decide. She didn't join.
Oh, she sat in our office for 4 months before she joined the team.
I was like an undercover agent.
Yeah.
4 months straight? Did you bring a tent?
Yeah. I have a desk and I really enjoyed looking at it. But I wasn't sure. And I was very doubtful because my agency I was at, they were so anti-Keller Williams. You hear everything terrible. And I was scared. But then I realized, guess what? If I didn't love it, I didn't have to stay either.
Sure.
They're scared.
Yeah. I think regardless of what company you're with or where you are, just surround yourself with really good people. People who are performing at a higher level than you are. Obviously, what's that saying? with the 5 people you hang around.
Yeah, you're the average of the
Average
5
income,
people you
yeah,
spend
so
the most
just-
time with.
You know,
And Michelle, same question, and we want to save some time for a couple questions from you guys.
So I'll just kind of like circle it back. So I think about teams in different ways, right? So we changed our name to group versus team simply because to me team means one thing, group means another. So if you're thinking about joining, building, anything to do with
what's the difference, team, group?
Well, so to me, group just meant there was team meant like one unit, and group meant there could be teams within a large. It was my own perception. So when I think about a team, or when I was kind of restructuring, and this would be my recommendation to everybody too, get clear on who you are, what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, what your value that you provide is, and who you should be in business with based on that, who you can help based on what you built and what you provide. And then for anybody thinking about building a team, joining a team, anything to do with a team, think about what your value proposition is, what your strengths and weaknesses are. So are you the visionary that is going to build the entire platform and build the back end? Or are you the director of sales? Are you the building out the buyer team? Are you an expansion partner? Are you going to build out the admin team? So there's different teams that the larger whole is in need of too. So you may be the rock star buyer's agent who's rocking, producing at a high level and now wants to come into leadership, but to go and become a visionary and to go and build that platform may not be your strength. And then it may take you, significantly longer because you're going to be failing at something that is not your strength. So just understand who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what your value proposition is. And then you can decide if you're going to build from the ground up or if you're going to align yourself with a bigger wagon, because the team you want to build is part of a bigger whole. And I think if the decision is you're the visionary and you want to build from the ground up, you have to remember that it's going to be about 5 to 7 years. If you want to build a team and you don't want to take 5 to 7 years to get there, you're probably wanting to look towards building your team, whatever that looks like, within inside of a larger whole. That would be my best advice.
Awesome. All right, yeah, we got some. All right, yes, Lisa.
Not a question, just a comment to give you all accolades for commenting on each other and complimenting. I think that's huge. Keller Williams is this big umbrella, but it's all about the people under that umbrella and our reputation in the marketplace, and it's a good group.
I think any one of us up here would say that none of us would have had the success we've had if it weren't for every one of us up here.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%.
Like there's been so much collaboration over a decade with Steve and I, and I remember when Michelle joined KW and she did an open house for me. Right? Do you remember that? Like that.
Exactly where it was.
Yeah. We sat together for like I went and met her there, and then we spent like 2.5 hours together, and it was like, that's Sandie and I have spent hours together talking about how we structure, and it's just share. It's like, the number of times that I've had to compete with these people for listings is like probably single digits. Right, out of thousands of units. I mean, probably 10,000 units. And maybe I've competed with every one of you at some point, and it's literally like Lauren kicked my butt at a listing once, and I went and I gave her a high five. I'm like, I don't know how you got that, but that guy was tough. And she was like, oh, it was not at all. And I'm like, well, good for you. That's great.
You got to look like that.
Yeah, totally. But whatever. I mean, I just, that I think is what that collaboration is all about. You got to, and that's. A lot of us come from fear, and you just have to get out of fear and realize, the people around you are your best asset. They're going to help you get better.
So that's 100% true. Yeah. The people in this room today, everybody, the people you're sitting next to, if you are a part of this company, you will gain. I literally, sometimes I won't go to out-of-state masterminds, which I should. But I always feel like, Matt and I get together, Ed and I get together, or whoever I get together with, I grab so much information, and we just back and forth, and there's no hiding anything. I remember I went and sat in Matt's office. We kind of do this quite a bit, but about 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I'm like, I got to figure some shit out with my expenses. And he's like, hey, cool. Flipped his entire business open right in front of me. You remember that?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's how much I'm paying that. That's where I'm spending that. That's how much I'm paying that.
Yeah.
The folks, I don't know who I don't even know who are guests in this room, but it's probably not something that's going on in your world. But if somebody comes into Icon's office and talks to Cheryl or I, just ask us, hey, how much are you spending on this? Did you spend that on that? Just going to show it to you and how we did whatever we did. So, it's a cool thing. Bear in mind that, we are a giving company, so that's what we did.
I will tell you my greatest, my worst mistake in this business, if I listened to Steve Lucca, I wouldn't have made it. I opened an office. I opened an expansion office. And he said to me, are you sure you're not doing this too soon? Like, you might want to just think about it. And I'm like, no! I was doing tons of my money was flowing, bank account was fat. I'm like, no, this is the perfect time to go open an office. And that was, oh my God, probably the worst mistake I made. And it was 2 sentences, and I'll never forget exactly where we were standing. And I'm like, no, 4 years later, shut the doors, regrouped, and if I only listened to that. So,
But did it teach you something?
Yeah, because he just asked me a question about an hour before we started this, and I'm like, oh God, maybe I should listen to Steve this time.
So listen to Steve is the answer.
But the point is, we're all here to help and offer opinions and suggestions.
Well, and that's cool because you don't see that everywhere, right? That's not your traditional normal environment, especially at a real estate company where a lot of people are competing against each other. You have a question, Brittany?
Well, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment that kind of piggybacks off of that. I just want to thank all of you guys for being up here and being real and being honest and just bearing all in front of us, because my perception of real estate before I got into the business was oh well, you have these big mega agents with big mega teams that are up on their pedestal, and then you have all these little guys running around that there's no connection. But we break barriers at Keller Williams, and I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Stacy.
I would really like to know, what is the value proposition that you provide to people joining your team? Do you offer coaching or assistance or training, or why should they join your team?
So why don't we do this? Let's do each of you guys have 45 seconds. Because reality is, right, if you meet somebody in an elevator and they're like, hey, who are you? What do you do? And you got to give them your elevator pitch, right? Mm-hmm. So let's do it. Let's see how you guys operate. So put you on little pressure.
So I didn't get clarity around our mission, and that really started helping me until probably about a year ago. So our mission statement is we empower people, the people we serve, and the people we serve with. So when we wake up every day, we think about how are the things that we're doing empowering the people that are around us. And we play at the highest level of the game, right? So when people say, should I be on a team or shouldn't I say, look, you can interview 100 agents, and some of them are playing, and think of it like a sport, right? You can pick up a football and hang out in the backyard and have a catch, and you could say you're playing football. Or you could play football with the Patriots. Right, and the value proposition of our team, and then all the way in between that, there's high school level, there's college level, all the way in between that, varying things change. But it's an easy thing to understand that the Patriots have a certain level of play that they play, and by the way, they have a ton more resources. How many coaches on the New England Patriots versus a Pop Warner football team? How many people? How many screens? How much film? How hard do those people work? How hard does Tom Brady work every day? I mean, he only plays 16 times a year, and yet he works all year on his game, right? And so the value proposition for the Miale team is we aspire to play at the highest level of the game. Our vision is that we will play at that level. We'll play in the NFL, and you can be in this business and play backyard football. Totally fine. Cool. That's just the level of play. So that's our value proposition. We want to win with people who want to win.
Do you have a minimum level that people on your team would have to adhere to or anything like that?
We have a ton of standards around everything, activity, production. There's standards that everybody knows. And the idea is that, if you're not at the standard, the team's there with resources to get you to the standard. And some people just won't be a fit. That's also the reality. And that's just it. Some people can't play on the Patriots. That's how it works.
I love your analogy. I'm going to use that from now on. If somebody record that, I want to use that.
I have it all.
Oh, yes. Okay, good. So, I would say our value proposition is we always say we're transforming lives. That's probably our biggest thing. And we do offer accountability, which I think most people, that's one of the reasons why I joined Adam's team was I needed that accountability. I needed to grow more, and I needed someone to hold me accountable because I had been doing this for so long that I was just used to doing my own thing. So I needed somebody to just hold me accountable to bring me to that next level. So we offer a lot of accountability to our team. And I think that we do offer coaching. We do it once a week. And myself, Lisa, and Shannon, who's our director of operations. So they get a different take every week with somebody new. And we have 3 locations, so we'll take turns going to each location, every week. So it's definitely, we really, our whole entire goal is to make sure that each one of our team members is successful, and we always say work hard, play hard, and that's my little back end motto that I always say to them. And we do a lot of team culture things and a lot of team training because we want to make sure that every day that they're doing something to move them forward in their lives and their families' lives.
So I learned this years ago from my business coach that if anybody on my team is failing as a real estate agent, then I'm failing.
Yeah. Take accountability of that.
So yeah, exactly. So I'm failing as a leader. If one of my agents can't pay their bills, then we need to figure out how to help them. Or maybe helping them is getting them off the team, right? So yeah, all right.
So Webster Realty Group is, like I said, we're small but we're mighty. We have weekly accountability meetings. We also have weekly meetings as a group. Pretty much accessible to the team leads at any given time. 11 o'clock at night, you need help writing up a contract, Bill or I will be there. I kind of went back this year and looked at, I was like, what is really our value proposition that we bring to our clients? And it's so in line with what we do for our team and our agents. And that is the PAL system. The PAL system is patience, accessibility, and accountability, and we listen to what your needs are.
Love it.
That's nice.
Lauren?
So, we offer a lot, as far as like coaching, training, obviously experience in the field. I feel that this is like your life, I feel like to our agents, we want to show you how to leverage your time and have fun with your family, and this is like the only life that we have to live, so you've got to make it a good one, I think. So
Amen.
And first, one of our biggest standards, we obviously have standards like Matt was saying. If you in your mind can't even think of yourself doing 25 deals a year, you're going to be really uncomfortable on our team. So if your goal is 25 units plus, that's usually kind of the minimum that we're looking for, because you're going to be doing things that are going to make you uncomfortable, and the time it's going to take for you to do these activities. If you only want to do 5 deals a year, it just doesn't. You're going to be. So
speaking of that, and what everybody said, here December 17 and 18, we're doing the class career visioning. So for people that are interested in kind of like what that looks like, starting a team, what it looks like to get to the next level, it's not just about creating my vision, but now once you create your vision, there's a process for meeting people and finding out, is this a person that actually will follow through on closing 25 transactions? Or are they someone that, so it helps you, what word am I looking for? I shouldn't say weed out. Well, yeah, I guess so, right? Helps you kind of filter and find the best potential team members or candidates for your business.
Wait, one more thing.
Yep. Sure, yeah.
Beyond the 25 deals, if that is your goal, the biggest value is that we can get you there. And we can still enable you to have time with your family, leverage some paperwork, have training, accountability, have fun. We go-karting.
Go-karts.
What's interesting is sitting up here is, everybody probably expected the canned answers. And the canned answers are, leads, no monthly expenses, marketing, blah, 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 support. But the funny thing is it's if you listen to what everybody said thus far, it's coming from energy. So where I'm at in my world, and Cheryl, where we are at with our squad, and when we sit at the family table, it's about energy. We basically, of course, we all give all the other stuff, the shiny stuff, the canned stuff. But the reality of it is when you are with people that are basically a microcosm of what we have here as Keller Williams, and you shrink it down to a smaller a group, the energy actually becomes more powerful within that boardroom. And when somebody, like I said, when somebody on my team is suffering, I'll give you a quick example, guys. A while back, hey, Rothman's here. What's up, brother? I haven't seen him forever. So basically what we got is we were at the family table. One of the guys is suffering, you know what I mean? And he just wasn't doing it. And one of the other folks on my team stepped up and said, hey, look it. I have such and such situation. Why don't you, I have a client that needs a place in this area that I've been marketing it. Why don't you go market it, try to get the listing, and I'll buy it off of you. You understand what that meant? That meant her taking something off her plate, which, of course, that's part of our training in our group. Hey, you got a buyer who needs something in a condominium complex? Go market it. Send the letters, knock on the doors, which she was just about to do. But she handed it over to the other chap on the team to give her the opportunity to do it. That's value that you won't get on your own, basically. You're just kind of like, what do I do next? So honestly, the energy within that room will drive your business. And if you are not the person that you see up here with the ability to drive people and get people to understand others' needs, then you're probably not a team leader, and that's okay. Because there's, I would say, like 10% at the most can actually pull off a team. So it's okay to be on a team, but understand that when you get on that team, the expectations that are set on these teams are high enough that you will drive past your goals, you will break a ceiling, and then we will give you a hammer, get to that ceiling, you will break it again, and eventually you will be doing 60 transactions. Okay? So there it is. It's about energy, folks.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. And Michelle, you want to?
Kind of the same. So, obviously we all offer probably the same, like Steve said, canned answer, but the reality is we're all a little different. So you all are going to resonate with someone who's a little bit different. So culture and energy, number one. My claim to fame, I think, is uncovering your power and unleashing your passion and using that to churn a paycheck. So my coaching style is making sure that you are living your own purpose and you are working to your own strengths. So constantly making sure your goals are in alignment with your actions and all of that. And then obviously in our relaunch and our rebrand is really making sure that everything in terms of accountability and leverage and platforms and digital brand and all of that is rock solid, so that the launching pad for each individual to get where they want to be, whether it's production or leadership, is solid.
Awesome. Good stuff. What did you take from today? 2 people on this side of the room, 2 people on this side of the room, and Matt has a quick announcement. Yes, Brittany.
Hire slow and fire fast.
Love it. All right, one more. Yes, Ed.
What am I missing in my life right now to bring my business to the next level?
Love that. Yeah. Aaron, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway was that when you get out of that fight or flight mode, that's when you can really be a leader and help support your team, and you have to get out of that survival mode if you want to grow.
Aaron's a rock star, by the way. Awesome. Good stuff. Yes.
Being conservative is okay.
Masters, if you know me, you know health and nutrition is number 1, and that's why I'm an advisor for Advocare products. Listen, in my opinion, these are the best products on the planet, guys. You get what you're supposed to get, right? I use the products for health. I use the products for energy. I use the products for wellness. So we have all the different lines from Spark, starting your day with a great energy shot, all the way to pre-workout. It's whatever your goals are, right? It's whatever your goals are. You can check out the products at www.livelongersmarter.com. That's my website. or reach out to me. I'd love to have a 30-minute or, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute conversation with you, just talking about your health and nutrition goals and what I can do to help you achieve those goals. So again, products, energy line, or wellness line, whether it's joints, you're getting up there in the age, you just want to take care of yourself. I'll tell you, one of the greatest compliments I get is people, you say, wow, you look amazing. I cannot believe you are the age you are. Weight loss. I've helped lots of people, guys, lose weight, not just lose it, but keep it off with the products. And the cool thing is, I'd say 75% of the people who start with our products, they continue using our products even after they initially tried them, which has been amazing. And strength, if you're into bodybuilding, then hey, Rich Fronin, okay? I don't know if you know who Rich Fronin is. He's an advocate for AdvoCare as well. So amazing products. You can see us. We're featured on NASCAR, professional soccer, college basketball, college football, Men's Health magazine last month. These are the real deal, guys. LiveLongerSmarter.com is the website, or reach out to me if you, like I said, if you want to have a personal conversation with me, just send me an email. In the subject line, just put AdvoCare products, and I'd love, like I said, schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with you to talk about your health and nutrition goals. Guys, you rock. Live longer, smarter. And as Gary Keller eloquently said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you gonna live? You rock.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of the Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.